So with all these new and strange reports of alien sightings across the planet, you have to wonder if these aliens, if their intentions are to abduct the Hot Toys right from Hong Kong and take them to another dimension. Because where are some of these releases and some of the prototypes that Howard and the gang have teased? Have these otherworldly beings, are they involved? Wait a minute, I'm getting a call. Could it be from one of these extraterrestrials? Let's pick it up, baby, and find out. Hello? You're not the Hot Toys wizard. I guess you've been watching my videos and see that many times. You're a friend of the Hot Toys wizard. You are really? You, wow. You're kidding. And you have the Bespin Han. No kidding. Really? You have the quarter scale Kylo Ren? Whoa. Well, listen, you got to bring, you have Poe Dameron. What do you mean you got Baze Malbus? Listen, bring me back all of those. I want my Bespin Han. What do you mean you took Darkseid Rey? Get her back here. What? Well, bring me. I know I'm in a different dimension. Right? What did you do to this? What did you do to Chick-fil-A? Well, really, I know I need it back without the K. It doesn't even look right with this. And honestly, what bugs me even more than this stupid, Chick-fil-A thing is what did you do to Fruit Loops, baby? Put the two O's back. It looks better with the 4 Fruit Loops. I don't need the word fruit. Yeah, Bring me back my Bespin Han. Goodbye. Listen, diving into more of are Hot Toys a good investment? These secondary market figures, primary market figures, in terms of investing like it's gold or your 401k. We're going to dive into more of that. And listen, what are my thoughts on this Black Manta? And does that mean that Artisan Aquaman is on the way? I can tell you one thing that is on the way, baby. They better have Deluxe Spotchka in any of these alternate dimensions realities. Let's go ahead and dive into all of this right now. Alright, and welcome to another episode of The Market Show, right here at 6 Scale Cantina. I am your host, Aries Tarrington, and let's go ahead and get right into it. Are these Hot Toys, are they worth investing in like it's gold? Like it's your 401k? Is it wise to invest in thinking that you can go ahead and bury these in the sand for 10 years, or perhaps in your attic for 10 or 15 years, like old 70s and 80s vintage collectible toys, and have the same outcome? We're going to be diving into that a little bit more, and again, later in this show for sure. But first, let's go ahead and talk about this right here. And what stuck out to me the most about this particular release was, honestly, they're going to be coming out with characters and figures from this Aquaman 2 movie, from the Lost Kingdom. This is clear evidence right here with the Black Manta that that is going to happen. And also, you have to ask yourself, is it further clear evidence that with the 100+ announcements that Hot Toys did in 2023, were they just spent? Honestly, I was spent because I just didn't have any more that I could put down on anything else. To be quite frank with you, okay? But clear evidence that perhaps stuff is not only coming from Black Manta, but more from the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, more from The Flash. And honestly, this movie is not gangbusters in the box office. It's doing better than the Marvels. It's certainly doing better than Wish. But it's really not doing good. In many aspects, it is a box office failure. Albeit, figures are ensuing. And that means, under that view, one of the big things that sticks out when we talk about Book of Boba Fett, which was actually the second highest rated, okay, most watched Star Wars series next to The Mandalorian. So you have to ask yourself there too, are they really not going to bring that back? And are we really not going to get a Black Chrysanthemum and some other goodies from there? Oh, I bet you we will. Look, they just gave us Black Manta. And you have to look at things that way. How much more does Black Manta just destroy a release like Black Chrysanthemum? How about if they did another Luke with Grogu, but an updated Luke to look at that more awesome CGI that Favreau and Filoni put in the Book of Boba Fett, and with a package where it's kind of packaged, like remember in Empire Strikes Back when Yoda was riding that, you know, it's iconic. Luke's back, okay, on Dagobah, and they kind of redid that whole theme in the Book of Boba Fett, and people spilled all kinds of coffee and had to sip a lot of spotchka to kind of get over that emotion. Don't think that they're not going to do that. They just came out with Black Manta. They just came out with a long-haired younger Flash from a box office bomb with The Flash. Again, what have I been saying? More and more announcements, less production. How fast they're going on waitlist of these announcements. Black Manta, here you go. It's a great figure. It has the LED light up functions. It has, it's nice. You know, and whether these actors or characters take off their helmet or their masks in a TV show or a movie, or they don't, Hot Toys specializes in human head sculpts, that artistry. That is what draws many collectors in. And that is what draws the excitement from so many visitors that aren't aware about Hot Toys. They are like, holy smoke, what's that? And when they look at this, you know, if they're not a real toy collector, they're not going to really know if this is much better than if Hasbro did a 12-inch version. Honestly, it's like, oh, okay, we know, but the head sculpt, anybody could know. And honestly, why not honor the us with a nice, you know, you do these what if things that are going to be now for Star Wars, what if series, you do these specialized things like, you know, venomized Groot or venomized this, or again, the aforementioned like Iron Strange. Why not give us a C-3PO with an Anthony Daniels head sculpt? That would be a what if. or that would be something, forget about Iron Strange, which is great, but that would be something I am really totally interested in. So really, with here, with not having, not having Yahya Abdul-Mateen II's head sculpt with this bothers me. That's what bothers me with this release. I really wish they would have included this. That's what I like with Hot Toys, whether masks are on or whether they're off. That being said, $255, you're getting Black Manta all day long. Fantastic if you're into this. That is a fantastic price. Even in 2024, Hot Toys is staying true to being very, very ultra competitive. I like this. What also sticks out to me about this particular release, though, I'm just going to come right out with it, baby. And you have to ask yourself, they just came out with Black Manta. Would they pass on Jason Momoa and an artisan version of Aquaman? And I say no. I think you need to buckle up for this. And honestly, if Hot Toys were to do an artisan version and it would come out looking like this, this would be, for me anyway, and for many collectors, I assume, an absolute showpiece, an ultimate Aquaman that you could put in your collection for DC. And holy smokes. Now, with this particular figure, would they actually also offer, like the Elizabeth Olsen Artisan Scarlet Witch, a sculpted hair version? And I say yes. I really believe that they would, baby. Buckle up. Buckle up. Very, very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. And before we get into, should you invest in these like gold, I've got gold here. I've got gold. It's going to be worth $2,000, $3,000, $8,000 in 10 years. If you like what you're watching here, remember, join my channel. And if you do, I appreciate your support. This just came out. Does Sideshow and retailers like that, official distributors, or any resellers, quite frankly, are they really looking for stock right now? Now, nobody really knows, and I don't know. But it's an interesting question, and I'm going to dive in. I do dive into this. It's up right now if you join the channel, with a lot of data and a lot of trends to be able to kind of stir your brain waves. Or do they want pre-orders? Are we moving to a pre-order only model? I can tell you right now, if we do this artisan, if they do this artisan Jason Momoa Aquaman, boy oh boy, it's certainly going to be limited. Who knows what that'll be in the queue system for sure. And then this is another one that's upcoming if you join the channel. Another insider extra. Look, Hot Toys versus InArt. Yeah, you're not going to want to miss this. Who's better? Is Hot Toys better? Is InArt better? Is J&D better? Is XYZ better? Is ABC better? You don't want to miss this from Aries Tarrington here. Come join the channel. This will be coming up, and this will be a lot of fun, and we will break through all the BS with this. Don't miss it. Miss it for sure. All right, let's go ahead and get on to the next part and segment of this show. Are Hot Toys a good investment? And when you look at collectibles like this, it really is a question that really should be asked from many of us who are diving deep into any type of collectible line, if we have certain expectations that are not really founded in a strong reality of existence. You know, look at the Obi-Wan Kenobi here on the banner. Look at the Han Solo. Look at the Terminator. There's two versions of Terminator. There's a battle damaged, you know, a DX10, a DX13, and a DX10 non-battle damaged from T2. Look at the Yondu from a prior Guardians of the Galaxy release. That's the original Christopher Reeve Superman. Of course, you have an '89 Batman Joker, Jack Nicholson portrayed Joker there. You know, every one of these pieces that you see on the banner fetch incredibly high secondary market prices, well over and sometimes more than double their original retail price. But you do have to ask yourself, when you look at something like Yondu, for instance, and I pull this up onto the screen, what happens if Hot Toys decides to not only put out the Drax and the Mantis, which are the two remaining here that they have yet to put out? This is what they teased themselves. They already have these prototypes that they were able to put into the picture. And of course, Yondu was in the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 in a cameo. And so was Gamora in much more of a cameo. But you do have to ask yourself, what happens if they come out with a Yondu from here? What happens to the price, the going rate of this Yondu on here? And what happens if the Yondu that they come out with has rolling eye function and just is an overall, somehow, some way, a better head sculpt? Because that one's one of the best ever. What happens if they put that out? Does this one tank? Or does this one stay the same? Or does this one increase? So again, is spending $500 to $700, or in some cases even more, is it a good investment for this Yondu? And it's a really, 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 really good question. What happens if they come out with a Gamora from here and one of the versions is available in DX Artisan and another sculpted, let's say? Like the Artisan Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen? Is that going to take the other Scarlet Witches that are in the secondary market that I'm starting to see decline in a real way? Because for many collectors, the new Artisan version and the sculpted version, with that base and the head sculpt in particularly, are just in many ways considered superior. Again, what if this Drax is superior to the Drax that's out there right now? Let's go ahead and investigate some of these grails and actually see what's going on with some of these in the secondary market. And when you look at the secondary market now, you have to weigh into effect the impact that has been placed on collectors because of this volatile global economy. This economy where over the last several years, especially in 2020 and 2021, was the worst in the United States that we've seen in over 40 somewhat years. And incredible rates of inflation in countries like Russia and, in the UK in 2022, in the beginning of 2023 at 6%, 5%, absolutely crazy. And when you look at some of these prices, how are some of these grails even holding up during these tumultuous economic times? And look at this Obi-Wan that I have up on the screen right now. And look at that price from an outstanding seller with 4,507 feedback. And this sold for $496 with 19 bids. When these figures are new and they come from very reputable sellers, they fetch very high prices. But mind you, $496 does not include taxes. It doesn't include the shipping, which is real modest here at $10.70, but over already $500. So well over, when you include taxes, $500 for an Obi-Wan Kenobi figure portrayed by Alec Guinness for Star Wars A New Hope 1977. That's what it's going for right now. But what if a 2.0 of this Obi-Wan was to come out in the near future from Hot Toys? What if that were to happen? And furthermore, what if somehow that Obi-Wan is superior to this Obi-Wan that just went for over $500, and it also has rolling eye function and a USB LED light up lightsaber, and perhaps an updated base, and perhaps some other updated innovations? Does that take away from the investment that whoever won this particular auction put into to acquire this piece? Let's continue to go on. And you could look at this particular figure here, and even though this one fetches very high prices, and you can see here there's still over 6 hours for this particular figure to finish. Again, outstanding seller, 4,507 feedback. And this is the MMS 456 Batman from Justice League that has a full Ben Affleck head sculpt. Now, have I seen this come down slightly since this was announced? And this is a 2.0 Batman right here from a different movie, Batman vs. Superman. But finally, the second Batman that comes with a full Ben Affleck head sculpt. You can see it right here on the screen. This head sculpt looks superior to that old one, and it comes with rolling eyes function. Different. I mean, it's just, it's absolutely unbelievable. And you do have to wonder if this release will affect this release, even though it's a different release altogether. And if you could see in that background there, but it's the only way you could get a full official Hot Toys Ben Affleck head sculpt right now. But now you have a second way in which you can get this. So if you were to spend $400 to $500 on that one, is it a good investment? And you have to also ask yourself if this is the last Ben Affleck Batman that we will ever see, this one here. And before you answer that, just ponder how many Christian Bale Batmans you have, not even in 6 scale, but in quarter scale already. it's real interesting for sure. You're watching the market show. Pause for some coffee in the official 6-scale Cantina mug. Cheers to you. Delicious. I'm having deja vu. I felt like I just sipped this. I see this moment. Wonder if it's a Mandela effect or tied to it somehow, some way. Let's go back to Star Wars. And, you know, people have asked me recently, what's going on with Darkseid Anakin in this economy? And just similarly, like I showed you, with the Affleck Batman from Batman vs. Superman, how that is slightly affecting the Batman from the Justice League, Dawn of Justice, with the other full, Ben Affleck head sculpt. I am also seeing this be affected by the Artisan. By the Artisan Anakin that just came out. And that one's not even a Darkseid version per se. Okay? But this one is still moving. You say, oh, 610. Yes, but look at the shipping, $73. So really, this went for $683 when you include taxes. Over $700 for a Darkseid Anakin. When this sells, and it is new, baby, it is selling for between $700 and $800, which is absolutely incredible for one, not a two-pack, a figure that just comes by itself. And again, is this a wise investment? And if so, what's going to happen to the value of this Darkseid Anakin if they decide, if Hot Toys decides to put out another version of this particular figure I'm putting up on the screen, the Artisan Anakin, with a Darkseid Anakin? And would they even put out a Darkseid Anakin right when they already have this up on pre-order? And I say, yes, it's possible. But why? Because they did it before with the regular Anakin release from the Revenge of the Sith. They gave you virtually the same exact figure, just with colored eyes to show he's, evil, and just with a different base. Otherwise, it was essentially the same darn thing. So is it possible that they would do the same thing again? And furthermore, what would that do if they were to do that? What would that do to this? Is this a wise investment? Now, I'm not giving you no or yes, because it is really a multifaceted answer, I believe, which I'm going to give you as we continue to move on with this episode of the Market Show. Make sure you smash the like button if you haven't already. I do appreciate that support. And if this is the first time you're watching the Market Show and your host Aries Tarrington here, please also go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying what you're watching here. Let's move away from Star Wars. And look what this is going for. I mean, wow. $445 for Hela from Thor Ragnarok, with 8 bids and not including the $15 in shipping, not including taxes. You're talking $500 $100 for this Gila figure, and it's not even new. It's not even new. And what would happen if they decided to commemorate Marvel? Oh, wait a minute. I actually believe that they are celebrating all the years of Marvel history, Hot Toys is, in 2024. So you do have to ask yourself, if they did another Gila and with rolling eyes function and perhaps some other upgrades, would that affect this figure's value? Would the new figure be superior to this figure, this Gila here? Like the Iron Man 2.0s are arguably to the old 1.0 Iron Mans, which are absolutely tanking in the secondary market. Again, is it a good investment? Let's continue to go down and go back to Star Wars. And this one's very, very interesting. And again, even during this economy, these tumultuous times, these hard times where we don't have as much expendable income and we're not buying as many figures as we once were able to or want to or can do. Still, for this 2-pack, $1,000, 66 bids, sold, outstanding seller with 1,005 feedback, all 100% positive, and not including the $18.11 in shipping, not including taxes, well over $1,000. And look, when you're coming out with characters, you're coming out with, pieces like gore, and you're coming out with, different types of, these interesting pieces like Venomized Groot, and some of these that, they don't really, crack the top 10. An argument that they would never really do another Grand Moff Tarkin. I just don't see it. Because in my view, with how much this goes for, you could offer $1,500, $2,500, $3,000 or $4,000, like all those rooted hair figures, the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman, the Scarlet Witch, the Anakin, the Joker. And you could easily, on any one of those numbers, sell a Peter Cushing Grand Moff Tarkin right now. But why? Because collectors are spending between $500 or $600 just for him by himself in the secondary market. And when you put that data together, it makes sense that they would go ahead and consider doing this. It doesn't matter if he's relevant right now or not relevant. I dare say during Love and Thunder that Grand Moff Tarkin was perhaps more relevant than Gore or any of those characters in that movie, even during that time. You can't escape or forget the power of these foundational Star Wars IP characters, which is why they had so much power in the secondary market and fetch these. But if they came out with a Tarkin Invader 2-pack 2.0 tomorrow, and I believe it is possible that they can do that because it's not a money loser in any stretch. You know, and I know that it's very plausible that a 2-pack Vader and Tarkin could reach #1 best-selling on Sideshow and could actually stay there for several weeks, even though it would be a 2.0. So I wouldn't put it past it to come out again. And if so, what happens to the investment on this piece? And can we look at what happened to the DX07 Bespin Luke, which comes with 2 figures? What's happening with the value on that piece now that you have the DX24 and DX25 Luke? And that one doesn't even have a battle damaged component to it. And I say yes. And I think that one is holding up for a couple of reasons. Number one, it has still the battle damage component going for it. Number two, it has some nostalgic value of being the first ever Star Wars release and from Hot Toys. So that one still can go for some money, but decreased $300-400 in value, but can still go for $400 up to $500 depending on the condition of that figure. But can you look at those Bespin Lukes and kind of develop a historical trend of how this would go? And I say yes. Pause. You're watching a market chart show. Cheers to you, baby. Real delicious and interesting stuff. Here's another one. And here's another one of those grails that are on the banner. And you can see right here, this Jack Nicholson Joker, okay? DX08 from the 89 Batman. And look at these prices, $466 with 18 bids. Outstanding seller with 385 feedback. All 100% positive. Brand new. And not including the $40 in shipping, so $504. And not including taxes. So when you look at this DX08, is it a good investment if they were, and I'm bringing up this, 85 years celebrating Batman, and for some people, for some collectors, a good majority of them actually, right now, the 89 Batman is the motherlode for Batman. Not for everyone, but for a lot. And you do have to ask yourself, with 85 years of Batman, would they consider putting out a 2.0 of a figure that's fetching over $500 in the secondary market? And I say, yes, I believe that they would. And continuing to go on, here is another one. And Han and Chewie going back to Star Wars, and this from an outstanding seller with 75 feedback. All 100% positive. When this is offered new or in great condition with pictures, you can see here with 38 bids, $921. And this is after the holidays, right from January 6th, and sold. And sold, not including the $16.15 in shipping, not including taxes, over 1,000 US dollars for this 2-pack. But when you look at this, if they were to come out with this Han Solo that they teased way back when they put out this Bespin Leia up for pre-order. If they came out with this figure, and just like that, they took the time with the Bespin Luke, the DX24, 25, and when they put it out, it was just far superior. You know, you do have to wonder if they're doing some work on this now that they got Harrison Ford to sign off on, you know, Indiana Jones, and he's back with Disney, and you know, would they do a Han Solo with rolling eyes function? Would they update the head sculpt? You know, would they give you a different base? You know, would it even come a version possibly available in an Artisan? And would that affect the value of, you know, this 2-pack or this Han Solo, which by itself goes for, you know, $500 to $600 many times, if it's in good condition, in the secondary market right now? And again, is it a wise investment? Is everything that happened before essentially going to happen again, but in an improved way? And, you know, and you could go with any one of these, like this right here. And you could think, oh, they'll never come out with more Terminator Genesis figures. Why? May I suggest that they would? And the reason being, could it be one of the reasons is because they want to put out more and more announcements, but less production of these announcements? And when you look at that, then it doesn't necessarily have to be a character that is relevant to current material during current modern times. It could be anything. And if this is already showing evidence that it could generate revenue, that it could generate profits, and if you just put out 1,500, 2,500, 3,000, 4,000, would these be sitting on the shelves, or could you easily right now today sell 1,500 of these? And I say, yes, you could. And if they did, and it was somehow better, and it was improved, and it was a 2.0, much like the 2.0 Iron Mans that are coming out, or that 2.0 Batman vs. Superman Batman that I just showed, that this version, this 2.0, comes with a head sculpt. So you do have to ask yourself, are these a good investment? So continuing to go on here, look at this Grogu, which just sold for $420. Now this one is interesting because this one more recently went on waitlist, where it was available in stock for a long time. But you can see right here that the demand for Grogu, even at this price, is absolutely super high in the secondary market from the seller, with 131,478 feedback, $420 for the Hot Toys Grogu. That's $10 more than the original retail price, with 36 bids. Again, this kind of money in this economy, not including the taxes as well that would be with this particular figure. And when you pull up the original one, you can see right here on Sideshow for Hot Toys, sold out $410 original price. But look at this. Will it hold at around or over this retail value once this comes out. And, you know, I recently put out a video, one of the 100 proof shorts that talk about a lot of these figures, including the Grand Inquisitors, the remaining ones, the remaining characters from the Guardians of the Galaxy, the remaining different iterations of Keaton Batmans from the Flash movie, you know, and a figure like this that was also teased from Hot Toys, you know. Oh, they teased it, but they didn't come out with it. And again, I dived into the 100 plus figures that Hot Toys announced in 2023. You don't want to miss that video. Go back on the channel and check that out as I dive into a lot of data and trends that explains why possibly a lot of these figures, like this full-size Grogu right here with the Pram, a 2.0 if you will, may be coming out here in 2024. But you do have to wonder what happens to the price of the Grogu in the secondary market if a 2.0 one comes out. And is it possible that it goes the same way, even though this one comes with a Pram of like Iron Man 2.0 versions and things like that? And it's a very, very interesting question, and one that you have to ask yourself as you go ahead and invest in these action figures. So now let's get to, before we take a look at the primary market, the figures that are in stock, are they a good investment? The figures that are currently on waitlisted on pre-order, are they a good investment? The ones on pre-order that are getting officially released and are also available not only in the primary if you could get it, because a lot of them are waitlisted, but on the secondary market, are they a good investment? Before we answer that, let's answer, are these in the secondary market that I was showing you, like this, like the Han Solo, like some of these other figures, are they a good investment? And, you know, to really answer that question, it's a loaded, loaded question. If you're paying for these figures $500 to $700, and for these 2-packs anywhere from, you know, $800 to $1,100, $1,200, if you're doing that, really banking on that these figures are going to increase even more in value in the years to come, or perhaps double, okay, and become, you know, valuable like a lot of these, you know, ancient action figures, you know, from years and decades and millenniums past, you know, I think you may be perhaps disappointed, because from my view and collecting from all these decades, I don't necessarily believe that values of past figures are as sound as a 401k or investing in silver or gold, okay, or investing in that sense. It's not a great retirement plan to be able to really bank on that these toy companies, or if these toy companies someday get acquired, like Kenner was acquired, you know, from Hasbro, if someday they don't go ahead and they reuse these molds, even if for just nostalgia reasons, and go ahead and put these figures out again. And then, you know, perhaps it's not as rare as it once was. You know, it's very possible when you're looking at, you know, this banner here, that every one of these figures in the secondary market could be re-released again and have a 2.0. So if they're putting it into invest and hoping that it increases from those values, or perhaps becomes like a, you know, in Star Wars, like a, you know, a vinyl Cape Jawa, or the original carded, you know, G.I. Joe, you know, like a you know, an original Baroness, you know, it may not go that way at all. But if you're investing in it, knowing, hey, you know I bought that, I bought this Superman here. This Superman that you see on this banner, you know, this Superman that, you know, I'm flashing on the screen. If you didn't see my review of this Christopher Reeve Superman, go back into the channel archives, and you may want to check out this awesome review on how I spilled my coffee with this particular figure. I went in when I bought this figure, it cost me a pretty penny. But I knew that probably eventually I'm just going to get around the retail price. Maybe if I keep it in really good condition, where I do have a climate controlled home, I have a dehumidifier, it's in good, it's outside of, it's away from outdoor light and all kinds of those things. I already know, because I really believe that a 2.0 from Hot Toys is coming. And while it looks like, when you look at this figure, that there's no possible way that you can improve on it, you really can. That base with the fortress of solitude is cumbersome. There's not rolling eyes function, with this figure. There's other innovations. It could just be a complete upgrade. And I really do believe it's going to hurt the value of what I paid for this figure. But I'm okay with it. Would I still be able to get more than $1.99 for it, or still be able to get around the retail price? And that, you still have to put credit and put and put some give some credit and some attention to the nostalgic aspects of this hobby. Hot Toys is rather new. They're in their third decade of existence right now. There's a lot of things going on, and I'm okay, because I really wanted that figure, and I don't want to wait for a new one to come out. However, if I bought that figure, and I really believe in my heart that it's not only going to stay worth about $700, but it'll probably be $1,400, I may be disappointed. And I don't invest in these figures in the secondary market under that type of, burying my head in the sand. I've got that Obi-Wan Kenobi too. And I've got that Obi-Wan Kenobi is absolutely phenomenal. And when you look at this figure, I promise you, if you don't have it, you say to yourself, how can they possibly do any better than what you're looking at here? But I'm telling you, with the rolling eyes function and some of these head sculpts that they're coming out today, I do believe it is possible that they can improve on this figure. They can give you an improved base. They can give you improved materials. They can go ahead and give you a USB, LED-lit lightsaber, and the rolling eyes function. And the same thing with the Han Solo. I mean, that Han Solo is absolutely, to me, one of the premier highlights of my collection. And I know, as they come out with more improved, even if it's not a New Hope Han, a Bespin Han, or a Return of the Jedi Han, or a Ceremony Han from A New Hope, will it have some effect on the value of this figure right now, around $600? And I say, yes. But I go in with my eyes wide open. If I keep this figure in good condition, can I get the original retail price with it? It's so good that it will maintain that value. So you need to be able to understand that. So is it a good investment? It all depends on your point of view and the way you are collecting. If you're going in like me, understanding that there's going to be ebbs and flows, and that understanding, here's a BG reference for you, that what happens before is going to happen again, but perhaps improved, then you are okay. It is a good investment. There's nothing wrong with getting what you want. It's kind of like going and buying a brand new car, and you really want that new sports car or any car that it is that you want to buy, and as soon as you take it off the showroom floor, it's going to be worth a good maybe 20% less than what it was brand new. And you put miles on it in certain things, and it may not it's going to get a lot less in value. But even though they're going to come out with vehicles that are far superior to older vehicles, that doesn't say that that vehicle may not become a classic and at some point may skyrocket up in value. Could that happen with any one of these figures? And I think it's very difficult to just plain out say no. Because again, Hot Toys is just too young. You know, Hot Toys, you know, they weren't coming out with Hot Toys in the 1950s, the 1960s, and the 1970s, or the 1980s. So we really don't know until we get up, you know, 40, 50, 60 years later and see where where these figures are. But it could, and with some of these, have that same effect. Now, let's go ahead and get to some of the stuff in the primary market, some of the stuff that's in stock, some of the stuff right now, you know, that is going up on pre-order, and I'll pull some stuff up onto the screen and, you know, kind of set, you know, some of these things up for you. And, you know, just pulling this up, you know, and this is a figure that's, you know, on wait list, including the non-modern version of, you know, this Goblin figure, both versions, whether it's the original green suit or this modern version with that vest that he has up there from you know, No Way Home, or whether it's deluxe or the regular version of the one, you know, that's from the original looking Green Goblin. And because this is one of those figures, and I warned about this one, it's been on wait list for, you know, a little bit, and you can see right here, already $465 just back from January 12th. Wow, and from an outstanding U.S. seller with 131,478 feedback. And these were bids, no best offer, just sold at $465. Again, it's selling for as much as the Jack Nicholson DX09 Batman. And when you have, you know, supply and demand, when you use that equation and you're seeing that there's lower supply and that in fact equals a higher demand, especially for a classic villain such as this that many of us were waiting for an upgrade for, or Hot Toys to do this with William Dafoe for years. This comes with rolling eyes function, the head sculpt, if you've seen some of the reviews that are out there on YouTube. I mean, this looks absolutely incredible, whether you want this one or whether you want the one, you know, with more of the classic suit. But you're seeing right here, it's going for, you know, a ton of money. A lot of these figures that are up, that are going on wait list. Not all of them, but, you know, a good majority of them for sure are going ahead and fetching those type of values in the secondary market, and some not as much of others, but they're taking a little bit more time, kind of like, you know, this Loki right here as I pull this up onto the screen. And, you know, obviously there's different versions of Loki that are available, but now you're starting to see this one really start to creep up. And this is, you know, from the television series, you know, TMS 061, and really already $300 with 31 bids. You know, wow, and not including taxes, so not as quickly as the Green Goblin, but giving it time. But why? Why off the bat so much? Why is it fetching that kind of a high demand? Again, because it is sold out at so many places. You have to go onto the wait list if they're still available. But what about some of the figures that are still in stock? You know, are they a good investment? You know, right now you can go ahead and take a look at this Iron Strange, which goes for well over $400 at retail stores. But you can see right here from an outstanding seller 25 feedback, but all 100% positive, $255 new. And that's it. Just $255 new, not including the $20.62 in shipping, not including taxes. Why so much lower than the retail price? Again, supply and demand, and abundant availability right at this second of supply, and the demand is just, well, I can get it there. If you want to sell it to me here in the secondary market, I don't want to pay the retail price. I want a deal. Furthermore, this economy right in, like I mentioned in the beginning of the show, is a huge, gigantic factor. Most collectors that were interested in this, very niche, concept, Iron Man, strange, already the juice was squeezed, and people looking at that, oh, that looks pretty cool. I really don't want it for my collection, but if I can pick it up for $255, I'll go ahead and I'll do it, baby. And is it possible that that's partly exactly what you're seeing here with some of these figures? And I say, yes. Yes, yes, yes. And look, I mean, even with, figures right now, and you've seen so many of these that I've pulled up, but even with a recent movie, the Marvels, and, there's not a figure yet of, Brie Larson or any of the other two actresses from, the other versions, of Captain Marvel from different, multiverses, and still only, $130 and 26 cents, even with that movie in some places still in the theaters, 7 bids, not including the $15.90 in taxes, and well under the retail price. So are these figures worth investing in? Coming right out with it. And I say, yes. Why? If they're going for so low. Because right now, in this economy, there's just not enough expendable income for a lot of new collectors at the moment to dive into collection hobbies, collectibles. That doesn't mean that they won't. We're still coming out of COVID. Humanity is still trying to figure out this new, the new way post-COVID. And I still think it's going to take several years before we really figure things out. Like, hey, how do we want to, manage as a people, as societies, as cultures, working? Do we want to go into the workplace? Do we want to work remotely? Does it save money and save on emissions and the environment, not driving and being stuck, in traffic? Can we utilize more technology and be able to work from home? Are there other things to do, like collectibles, that I never even considered until, COVID happened and we were kind of, at home or, separated a lot from being outside. And I think a lot of these new norms are still unfolding as to where we're going to land. And the economy, is a big piece of all of that for sure. And I think in time, more and more collectors will be diving into these. More expendable income may become available to be able to put into collectibles. And then figures like that Captain Marvel, or figures like that Iron Strange, or figures like, the Mark 85 battle damaged or non-battle damaged, or some of those troopers, or some of those other versions of the Bad Batch, whether it's Echo, or whether it's Hunter, or whether it's the original trilogy, Lando Calrissian, or the original trilogy with Star Wars, Luke Snowspeeder pilot. Is it possible that those collectors coming in are going to be looking for those figures, and then just like what happens before will happen again, and then give those a few years? It's kind of like burying it in the sand for a little bit, and all of a sudden it becomes priceless. Is it possible with a lot of these figures that right now there's discounts on, that you should jump on those and they're a good investment? And I say, yes, they are. And I actually think it's an unprecedented time when you get some discounts available. If you really want those figures and you don't feel pressured to get those figures, and you've got the money and you're really feeling joy to do it, it's not putting you at any financial risk, sure, absolutely. I think it's a great investment. They're certainly not, in my view, going to get any lower than it is right now in this economy. But most likely, all of them are going to get higher. So all around, Hot Toys are a tremendous investment. Going to the ones like the aforementioned, Green Goblin, well, wow, right now that's like a grail. And you're seeing like the Warner Brothers 100 Wonder Woman with the Artisan hair. That's like a grail. And the Warner Brothers 100 Iron Man, as well. That's like a grail. You're seeing figures like Crosshair and Doc Ock and some of these other ones that are really starting to skyrocket up in the secondary market. Are they a good investment? Because they're more than likely, going to be coming out with another Doc Ock or another Green Goblin or another Tobey Maguire or another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man or this and that. Again, if you're investing in because, Green Goblin right now, the modern suit, I could get him for $465. If I buy that now, it may be worth, $1,065. You can't really say that they won't do another William Dafoe because they're doing 2.0s. So as long as you go in with your eyes wide open, it's always a good investment. But if you're doing it just to see if you could bury it in the sand and it will become priceless, and that's your 401k, you may want to take another look at doing that for sure. If you liked what you watched here today, you may want to consider joining the channel, baby. This is out. This is another. I keep pumping out a lot of channel membership insider exclusive videos. And you can see here, right here, does Sideshow and companies like Sideshow, distributors, any collectibles, do they really need or want stock right now? And while nobody knows for sure, you may want to take a look at my analysis. Or do they want pre-orders? And there's certainly a lot of evidence and a lot of trends and a lot of things going on that may be able to point us in the direction of where things are going and how to plan for, collecting these Hot Toys and collectibles like this in the future. So just click on the little join button. If you like what I'm doing here, and you like the content, I really appreciate your support. Go ahead and click on it, and you can get a lot of this library of stuff. And I got a lot more stuff coming out. What do I do on Insiders? I come out with these Insider Extra episodes. I come out with Drunk on Coffee, which is exclusively now just for Cantina Insiders. To be upcoming live shows and some other stuff on there. Again, I really appreciate your support. I don't always spill coffee, but when I do, baby, I do it right here at the 6 Scale Cantina. Stay thirsty, my friends.